And I had a doctor that actually looked and everything. He said, "Oh," he said it messed up something with your lymph nodes. And I was like, "Huh?" So anyways, he had to break it down for me. Audrey, she did do a sit up. Bless her heart. So he ended up like he checked it. He broke it down to me and everything. He said, "Well, sometimes in the surgery they could damage some things in doing C sections." And because it was like a lot of fluid that was building up on the bottom of my stomach, and I went to the doctor. I was like, "I've never had this little pouch thing as big as I had gotten. I never had a little pouch." And I was like, "Sir, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, that'll go away. Give it a few months." It was after I had my son. "Give it away." He said, "It'll take a couple of months." 2 years later, I said, "Sir," he said, "Sometimes it takes a little while." I said, "You told me to give it a few months. What can I do?" So I'm working on that now. Is getting rid of that. I had given up because depression and so many other things that was going on. Read my book when it come out, y'all. So many things was going on. And so I just gave up, was like, forget it. But it was about 2 years ago where I started really thinking back on some of the things that my grandfather said to me before he passed, and some things that my Aunt Carolyn said before she passed. And pretty much telling me to take care of myself, and that acknowledging that I didn't look the same, that I was looking different. I remember I was more specifically, when I was in the room the day my grandfather passed. We was actually in his bedroom. We had just picked him up some Chinese food. And when I say we were talking about me, my husband, and my daughter Andre, and my son G. Brian wasn't born yet. So we had went to pick up some Chinese food for him. We came to the house and everything, and we were just sitting out talking, and the wrestling came on. He loved wrestling. He loved watching it with my son G. And so we were just in there joking and stuff, joking around. It was a wrestler named Bo something. They used to always say, "Just believe." And so my grandfather was joking about that and everything. And then he said, "I need to talk to you about something, Toya." I said, "Okay." He said, "Look, I never gave you anything for your birthday." This was January 4th. It was January 4th. And he said, "I never gave you anything for your birthday. My birthday is in December." I said, Granddad, I'm a grown. I'm good." He said, "No, I'm gonna give you something for your birthday." So he went inside his drawer. He pulled out $20. He gave me $20. And then he said, "Look, I want you to take care of yourself." He said, "I noticed that you don't look the same." He said, "You look really, really tired." He said, "You look really, really tired, and you look sad." He said, "I want you to take care of yourself." He said, "Whatever you do," he said, "don't get as big as I got." He said, "Take your health very seriously." And I said, "Okay, Granddad." Because when I tell you, anybody who knows my grandfather know he's a jokester. He's a kidder. He's a jokester. He's always joking, always laughing. I've never had a serious conversation with him. I want to say, actually, when he found out that I was pregnant with my first son, I wasn't married. When he found out I was pregnant with my first son, we had a serious conversation then. And I want to say when I was in the 12th grade, we had a serious conversation. My entire life, other than that, everything was joking. And those serious conversations was like 10 seconds and it was done, right? So for him to be like that, I was like, okay. I said, "Oh yeah, I got." My weight has always been like a touchy subject to me. So I was like, okay, all right, Granddad, because you're going to respect your elders. I'm going to respect. And he didn't say anything out the way. He was very nice. My grandfather was known sometimes of being very blunt and kind of like, he would be the perfect example of the life lesson of think before you speak. That was my grandfather. My grandfather would say something, and then somebody would have to come behind him and say, "Okay, look, what he was saying was, But yeah, so we were having a very serious conversation. And I was like, he said, I'm serious. He said, take care of yourself. And he said, look at me. I said, okay. And I looked at him, and I could tell he was getting like teary eyed. My grandfather didn't cry. I seen my grandfather at his own mother's funeral, and I did not see that man cry. Now, he may have cried with my grandmother later or something like that. But the first time and before then, last time I had ever seen my grandfather cry, he had surgery on his back. And we went to go visit him, and my son was just a toddler then. And we was like so happy, you know, to my because we had never really had any major surgeries in our family or something like that. And so for him to be on his back, not able to move, and so he was trying to sit up to give my son a hug, and he couldn't sit. He said, "Oh," like that, and my son was reaching up to him, saying, he was like, "Granddad," like that, and my grandfather got teary eyed, and I think it was the fact that he couldn't give him a hug. It just really did something to him. And I remember looking like, and my mom said, Toya, pick Chi up, pick Chi. I said, oh. Because I never seen the man cry, you know. So fast forwarding to this conversation, for my grandfather to, and it's crazy because now when I look back on it, I wish that I had really thought more about what he was saying, because it's like it's all clicking now that my grandfather could tell that she's going through something, but he knew I have pride like my grandfather had pride. I'm not gonna tell you what my problem is. I'm better at it now, but he could tell. My grandfather could tell. And he was like, he said, look, he said, you hear me? He said, look at me. He said, look at me in my face. And I looked at him, and he said, take care of yourself. He said, because if something happens to you, everything else falls apart. He said, do you hear what I'm saying to you? I said, yes, sir. I got it. And I remember thinking in my brain, something's getting ready to happen to my grandfather. But I also remember, as a woman of God, thinking, rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I rebuke it. Literally, I want to say within 2 hours of that conversation, we were calling the paramedics to come help with my grandfather because he wasn't breathing. And I'm telling, well, he was breathing. He wasn't breathing right, and he was like kind of like gasping for air. And so I don't want to say too much more about that. But anyways, matter of fact, I might just edit that piece out. Yeah, I'm gonna take that part out. I might take that part out. But anyways, so yeah. Anywho's, I don't want to think too much more on that. But it's something. It's something. To the young people in our families, we could tell when something's wrong. I'm older, and so there's a lot that I have experienced, right down to the emotional part of it. And then when you know your family, you know your family. I have someone in my family now that I have not seen in about a year. And the Lord's been speaking to me about them. So I need to reach out to them today. It's a young person in my family. I'm not going to be too specific, but the Lord has had them on my heart for a minute. Doesn't mean that something's going to happen to them. It's just be in prayer. Be in prayer for the young people. I know this video is going all over the place. I know. I apologize. But yeah, but anyways, back to my grandfather and the conversation. So I'm taking it to heart now. I'm taking it to heart. With my aunt, Carolyn, when we were seeing her in the hospital, right when we were getting ready to leave out of the room to get ready to go home, she said, Toya, she said, come here for a minute, let me talk to you. I said, okay. So I went back in the room, and there were some things that she said that I'm not gonna put up here, but she was also telling me, she said, look, your brothers and your sister, y'all don't stop singing. Y'all got to keep singing. She said, when I tell you, she said, you don't know how much it blesses people. She said, your grandmother loved when y'all sing. And I'm talking about my aunt on my dad's side now. My grandfather I was talking about is on my mom's side. But my aunt, my dad's mother's sister. So yeah, so she was like, she said, I'm telling you, she said, don't y'all stop singing, baby. She said, I'm telling you, y'all keep living for God, y'all keep going. She said, and take care of your body. She said, don't be like me. She said, take care of your body. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you all right? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you sure you all right? I said, she said, give it to God. She said, give it to God. She said, give it to God. Give it to God. Now, mind you, my aunt and I, we've never had conversations like that before. I mean, we've talked often, but we had never had conversations like that before. And if we talked about God, it was very brief. Like, how y'all doing in church? We're doing good. That's good. You still going to church? Yes, ma'am. All right, that's good. And then we would talk about other things. But she told me, she was like, she said, I'm telling you, give it to God. She said, give it to God. She said, I want you to stay focused. She said, stay focused on your walk with God. She said, and don't you stop. Don't give up. She said, and get rest. She said, you look tired. Get rest. That was like a, woo, like a, wow. Now, here's the thing. Several people had been telling me, Toya, you don't look the same. Now, obviously, I'm getting older, so my face ain't going to look the same. But those who know me, who see me on a regular basis, is like, girl, you look like you're tired. Now, I'm starting to look a little bit better. I still look a little mess. Y'all bear with me. I'm getting there. But I want to say maybe 2 years ago, I really started thinking back on those conversations, and I was like, I really got to start taking care of myself better. I need to work on me. I need to build a better me. And I was like, God, help me build myself back up. And that was the start of the building a better me. And so I'm on that journey now. Everything that pertains to me, be better at it. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on now. So that's where it all stem from, the whole building a better me. You'll see that on my YouTube channel if I haven't changed it yet. By the time, as of the date of this here video, that is what it's saying, building a better me. I even have a VIP page where some things that I might sell, like I have some ebooks and stuff like that that's going to come out. I have one that has already come out, entitled Effective Prayers for Children, Meaningful Prayers for Life Moments. It's a good children's book that is available ebook, and it's on Kindle, it's on Etsy, and now the paperback is coming out within the next couple of days. So we're doing some good things, but I do have it available in my VIP. They get it seriously discounted, but I'm doing it for my VIP group. So it is a fee. When I first launched it, it was free to enter. To be a part of the VIP group, there is a fee to be a part of that group, but it's a lot. There are a lot of benefits to being in that group. So a lot of things I get for free. I'm going to be having some people come up there to talk, some therapists, some financial advisors, a whole lot of stuff, a lot of great things in the works. It's coming, and it's going to be free for those who are inside of the VIP. So, so y'all keep me lifted in prayer. It's a lot of great things that's coming. I do apologize that I really have not had a lot of content. But it's, your girl was going through some storms, and I am now coming out of the storms. I'm not 100% out of the storms, but I'm out enough to where I'm assessing the damage of the ship. Ooh, Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna have to put that in a book somewhere. I am assessing the damage of the ship, and I'm making minor repairs because technically I am still in the storm, just not in the worst part of it. I'm coming out of it. Once I'm completely out of the storm, I'm gonna have to do a complete overhaul. But right now I need to make certain repairs so that the ship don't go down. It's like, now that we out of the worst of it, we're in the rain part to where it's raining. We're not in the thunders and the waves are crashing and all. I'm in the rain part, but I'm not in the other part. So now I'm able to look and be like, ooh, it's one of those situations when you start coming out of a storm and you and you start looking at everything. You start looking like at your body, you start looking at your finances, you start looking at your man, you start looking at those who are under your charge. So if you have a business, you start really looking at your business or your businesses, and you start looking at, even if for children, you might even be looking at like your schoolwork, and you're like, how in the world did it get this bad? Wait a minute, I really dropped the ball. So that's where I'm at right now. Is I am assessing the damage, noticing that there's a lot of damage, and now I'm in the process of repairs. So that's where your girl is at now. So prayerfully, hopefully, Lord, let me live and the creek don't rise. I will be making more content, and I'm going to bring y'all with me on this journey, or continue to bring you with me on this journey of building a better me. For those who are new to this channel, baby, you want to check some previous videos. Your girl done went through breast cancer. I'm on the mend of that. I say I'm completely healed. The doctors, they still have me on medications and stuff, but I'm actually going to talk to them about coming off of the medications. I know a lot of people going to be like, nah, you know, da. I might do another video about that because, yeah, I think I'm going to do one more Lupron injection, because they have me on Lupron, on tamoxifen, and it's still some cream and stuff that I have to take because I still have the burns and stuff around my neck and stuff. Y'all see that? Like, I'm still dealing with the burns and stuff like that on my neck from the radiation and stuff, and that was a year ago. A year and some change, but I'm still dealing with the, you know, the darkness, and my skin is just now starting to lighten back up. It's like, if it's light over here than it is over here. It's like still really dark, but I ain't trying to show y'all my goodies though, so stop looking. Somebody probably like, girl, ain't nobody trying to look at that, but yeah. So, but I think I'm gonna try to take an all-natural approach. Wait a minute, let me say it the right way. I'm currently taking a more natural approach. Of course, that does mean I'm going to have to cut out a lot of sugar, because I'm learning that sugar contributes to cancer. Allegedly. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. I got to say that. I'm trying to get sued, boy. People suing everybody nowadays. All right. Anyways, all right. So I have already hit 30 minutes. I got to get up off here. I ain't trying to bore y'all. But thank y'all so much for watching. Catch y'all later. Y'all keep me lifted in prayer, and I'm going to continue to bring y'all on this journey with me. And you may see more videos with my children in it. Normally I like to keep my kids. I mean, you may have seen a couple of pictures. I think I did one video with my son in it, my youngest son. But I may do more. We'll see. We shall see. All right. Thank y'all so much. Catch y'all later. Love you. Peace.